There has been a lot of talk on social media about Ali Farag's outburst at the end of the 2024 Paris Open final. For those who haven't watched the clip, here it is. I've also been asked for my opinion, so here it goes. Let's share and consider the background context leading into this match. Number one, history. Asal is the one player who has really been challenging Farag in 2024. They've played 7 times so far, and Asal has now won 4 of their 7 encounters. At the Black Ball Open, the CIB Egyptian Open, the infamous British Open, and now, of course, the Paris Open. Additionally, 2 of Farag's 3 wins were in the best 2 out of 3 format, so not quite the same as a proper best of 5 match win. So now, if you consider that, we're really venturing into 4 out of 5 wins for Asal in proper matches. No other player has a positive record against Farag in 2024. Now again, for context, Farag has a 3-1 win-to-loss record over Diego Elias in 2024 and a 2-1 win-to-loss record over Paul Cole. Then there's the in-tournament context. As we all know, Farag had an epic match against Diego Elias the previous night in the semifinals and was likely a bit heavy-legged and fatigued. Such a win also has a mental impact, from feeling mentally drained to almost relishing the otherworldly match. Lesser players often feel like their job is done after a win like that, although I don't think that was Farag's mentality. The next factor I consider is the tactics that Asal used in the match. Now, we all know that Farag's natural game style involves extending points at a high pace by getting onto the volley early and keeping his opponents moving around the court. In order to do this, and given his exceptional movement ability, Farag has a tendency to poach over for the volley. Recognizing this tactic, as well as the context regarding Farag's semi-final physicality, Asal played at a very high pace, taking everything early and using lots of angles to twist and turn Farag, keeping him off the volley. This put a lot of work into Farag's already tired legs and mind. The icing on the cake for me was Asal's awareness and pattern building. He took the ball short with the obvious and early shot several times in the front corners, only to show the straight drop and then snap cross after setting the pattern. He also used a hold and changed the directions at the very last moment to great effect. For a player like Farag, who is accustomed to be the one controlling the angle and pace of play, being on the receiving end against an opponent hitting very well and aggressively after one of the most epic wins of his career, feeling understandably physically and mentally fatigued, it was the perfect storm. As we can see, Farag just was not able to find his accuracy consistently enough, both with his weight of stroke and his short game. As a result, he wasn't able to step up the court and control the tee by volleying and moving Asal around. The next factor to consider is what everyone wants to talk about: movement. In my opinion, I don't think that Asal did much wrong. He's a big guy, and like all of the professionals on tour, he wants to hold the tee. As you can see, Mohamed, Gawad, Diego, Tariq, Paul, Mazen, and most of the top players in the world now and in the past all do or did the same thing. In my humble opinion, I'd love to see all of the players just step laterally back to the tee, giving their opponents a clean line to the ball. But as you can see, very few of them do that from advantageous positions. To me, this becomes a matter of character. In fact, Farag displayed extremely noteworthy character near the end of the 4th game by actively requesting the referee to check his pickup, despite having no advantage in doing so. It appears that other players in the crowd indicated that the ball was likely down, despite Farag thinking it was up, and he fairly asked the referee to check it, even though the referee had no intention of doing so. Despite being in a position to be 8-all in the 4th, Farag followed his equitable and honest character trait and ended up going down 9-7. Now that's a true sign of integrity, honesty, and respect. On that note, my opinion is that even if other players are stepping forward and blocking their opponent's lines, not everyone has to follow suit if their moral code says otherwise. Ramy Ashour is my role model in this regard, as he always gave his opponent a line to the ball, especially when his opponents were out of position. Having said all of that, in my opinion, Asal isn't doing anything unique at the moment. All of the current top players make similar movements to him. If he were stepping diagonally forward, or sticking his leg out to widen his hips while stepping diagonally forward, I would say that he's engaged in dodgy movement. But I don't see that. Most of the time, we even see Asal shrinking his body a bit to create room for his opponent. When Asal's back leg sticks out, just like other top pros, his aggressive desire to hold the tee is causing some tripping. I personally don't think that he is deliberately extending his leg nearly as much as he used to a couple of years ago. Deeply ingrained motor patterns are very difficult to break. I'm sure you know the feeling from the last time you tried to change a poor technical habit. Let's celebrate all of the positive changes Asal has made and encourage his continued development. This approach is likely to lead to swifter remediation. So the question then is, why the outburst by Farag? There was so much pent-up frustration given the natural traffic issues in the last game that I feel he couldn't keep a lid on it any longer. If he were a lesser player, I would suggest that their recent record, the loss at the British Open and other large events, would be playing on his mind. If he were a lesser player, he would have likely been thinking about his hard luck given the tough semifinal and feeling sorry for himself or frustrated with the circumstances. But Farag is a class act and one of the greatest players of all time in my opinion. At the end of the day, everyone is human, everyone feels frustration, and everyone has an off day. Unfortunately for Farag, Asal happened to have a great day and his level of play was just too strong. Now if I may, let's let bygones be bygones and avoid taking extremely polarized stances at either end of the spectrum. It appears that there's a cohort of folks that are extremely pro-Asal, and anyone and their uncle is out to get him. On the flip side, there's a cohort of folks that are extremely anti-Asal. No matter what he does, he's vilified. May I humbly suggest that we enter each match in each moment with our mind on the action at hand, forgiving past misdeeds and giving the benefit of the doubt and appreciating that everyone is trying their best to be the best. With such an endeavor, flare-ups are inevitable. Let's be kind, patient, and appreciative of the gargantuan efforts all players are putting forth and support their growth and development in a positive manner. I wish you the very best. Take care.